Generation X. In general terms, those born between 1965 and 1980. Latchkey kids, independent, existentialism, modern philosophy focusing on personal experience, human ability, and responsibility in an otherwise meaningless universe. We're the cause. This is the effect. We're the Gen Existentialists. Heroes, villains. Today on the Gen Existentialist Podcast. Dun dun! This is the Gen Existentialist Podcast, as you well know, because you clicked play on this here thing. My name is Scott.
And I'll be your villain, Bunny.
You know, I wasn't thinking of it that way, but there was a section in the back of my mind that went, you know, we're going to talk about this and we are going to come at it from absolutely opposite sides.
Probably, yeah.
So our topic today is heroes and villains. Why we root for the wrong people now. That's kind of the slant we're taking on it, because I don't know if it seems this way to you. It seems this way to me, that the classic villain has been flipped into very much we'll call it the anti-hero role.
Yeah.
Especially in modern cinema, modern storytelling.
Well, a lot of your heroes have been flipped that way as well.
Yeah, very much. So the classic story of the hero is, overcoming some tragedy or something, making, saving the world, saving the damsel, that kind of thing. The hero's journey that you read about in basic storytelling. But I guess, why do we love heroes who break bad and villains who make sense? Why do we kind of lean that way? And we've got plenty of examples. And I guess beforehand, before we even dive into that, the basic observation is this. If you're a villain, you're still the hero of your own story.
Everybody's the hero of their own story.
Yeah. So when we talk about heroes and villains, I think one of the main things we have to talk about is perspective.
Sure.
History, the winners write the history.
Yeah.
And so the heroes may not have actually been the heroes of the tale.
True.
And I think you have to look at it that way. And I think that's where some of the modern storytelling comes in.
The villains only lose because because the writers write them that way.
Sure. But, and we'll get to this later, I hope, in modern reality, be it politics, be it war, be it corporate battles over market space and shelf space at your grocery store.
No, the bread delivery man.
Yeah.
What a bad guy.
But I mean, all of that, all of those have hero and villain stories, because how often have you been at work and you're portrayed as team, and we're going to go to work and we're going to make this great and we're going to be top dogs in our market sector? Well, you're casting yourself as the heroes. You're casting the people that make similar products as the villains, and you want to beat them. And that's something I hate.
Really? You don't think Arsenal is the hero or the villain to West Ham?
Well, that's the thing.
I mean,
that in sport, that's why I like sports.
Okay.
That's why I like soccer and hockey and baseball and stuff like that. That's where I get my competitive edge at.
I mean, the New York Yankees have the Empire theme or
they
whatever.
Are villains.
Yeah, I mean, the
Yankees are always
the Darth
villains.
Vader breath or whatever when they come out on
the
deck.
Yankees are always villains. Arsenal is always a villain.
But they're heroes to the New York fans.
But they're
Where have you gone,
misled.
Joe DiMaggio?
They're misguided.
Okay.
But see, that's the thing. Competition, I leave that to sports, because when it comes to like music, when I write a song, I am not thinking competition.
No.
I'm thinking expression and art. But here's the thing I realize. As soon as we record it and put it out, are we, in effect, competing against a bunch of other people that would love to get you to buy their download?
There's a difference between a song and a diss track. A diss track is being a villain or being a hero. You're out there bucking against the system. You're telling it like it is. You're giving your perspective.
You're trying.
That's a difference, between just making a song that's universal.
Yeah. So for you, heroes, villains, modern ideology versus classic ideology. What's your take?
I will always root for a hero that is effective, and that usually puts me in the villain category. I mean, I'll always root for a Punisher over a Superman.
Sure.
I want somebody who's fully effective and gets the job done and doesn't just kick the can down the road like Batman. He kicks the can down the road.
I absolutely will always go for the street level hero. Punisher, Daredevil. Of those two, who's my favorite? Daredevil.
Sure.
Doesn't want to kill.
Yeah.
Kind of the Batman thing.
See, I'm more of a Punisher guy because I just want it over with,
But see, above those, and you are looking at me right now, and behind my head in the studio is my favorite superhero, which is Moon Knight, who doesn't really care. Is more of an anti-hero, like Punisher, than anything.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the level of hero if we're talking like comic book heroes. Your Punishers, your Moon Knights, your Deadpools, where the morality is maybe a little bit blurry.
Yeah, it's very gray. And I think that's kind of a shame in today's society.
Why is that?
Because we boomers, silent generation, all those before us had
we are not boomers, by the way. We are Gen X, but just clear that up.
Black and white sort of hero versus villain. Wonder Woman was always the hero. Superman, Batman, the Lone Ranger.
Yeah.
Zorro.
I've forgotten about Zorro.
Yeah, you got all these people that, they never do anything super bad. Like your King Arthurs and all that jazz. So they're always upholding good. They're the white hats, the classic white hats, and the classic black hats were your Sheriff of Nottinghams and your, whatever, your bad cowboys. And they always wore black, and you always knew the line.
Sure.
And there was sort of almost a wholesomeness, teaching kids good morals by, why don't you be more like Superman? Why don't you be more like the Lone Ranger? Why don't you be more like Zorro? Whatever.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I think it's kind of bad that you're teaching kids, like, why don't you be like Deadpool and have a potty mouth and just kill people and think everything's a big joke, or why don't you be more like Heisenberg from Breaking Bad? Because he's doing the right thing. He's taking it to the system and teaching these drug lords what for? By becoming a drug lord.
He had good reasons to do what he did.
He did, I guess. But, it's why don't you be more like a Punisher who just says, screw you. Yeah. Crime's bad. I'm going to kill people. Now I'm the bad guy, kind of thing.
But what was Punisher ever actually the bad guy? Or were his methods just... Did he just use villains' methods to do the same thing a hero would do?
Sure. I mean,
and do you make a distinction
let's bomb
between
them over there before they bomb us over here? That's where we're at.
And I think you make the distinction between Frank Castle and Punisher because
Frank Castle's a deeply troubled person.
Yes, very much.
I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah, I guess. When do you cross over from hero to... I'm going to say there are three areas, from hero to anti-hero to villain. What makes the distinction, I guess? And at what point can you no longer root for the hero turned anti-hero, potentially turned villain?
No, I think the problem with a lot of this is that every hero and villain... every good villain and probably every good hero has a philosophy behind them. I mean, that's what makes them something other than just a mad dog like the Joker or something where you're just out causing chaos to be a dick. Or, you're in the streets just indiscriminately shooting anything that has the wrong color of outfit on.
Right.
Like the Bloods in the Crips, let's say. Don't shoot me, bros.
Yeah.
But, I think somebody like Dr. Doom is a good example of somebody who I think is a hero. Now, you may not feel that way, but because he's written as a bad guy. Mm-hmm. But if I had to follow a so-and-so, quote-unquote villain, I would follow Dr. Doom. It's one of those things that I think he's a hero. And I think he's got good ideas. What? I would have followed a Thanos. I think he had good ideas. Even though may not be the best ideas. I would have followed a Magneto. Because
given
I thought
that
Magneto
universe,
had good ideas.
Given that universe and what was happening in the X-Men universe most of the time, I can see that.
Yeah, I mean, it's how you feel. It's the philosophy you get behind.
Yeah,
it's like I would never follow a hero or a villain that I thought was incredibly ineffective, like a Batman. I find him incredibly ineffective.
Just ragging on Batman.
I have to, because he's one of the most popular ones. And I love Batman cartoons and Batman movies and all that. I think they're great. I think it's a wonderful idea, but I think if all you do is kick the can down the road, which is what you do as a Superman, as a Batman, as a Wonder Woman, you're kicking the can down the road, super friends. You're not actually fixing anything. You're just containing problems. I'm all about surgically removing problems in life, which is why I'll always root for the Empire. I'll always root for Dr. Doom. I'll always root for Frank Castle. People like that. It's
okay, since you brought up the Empire, who is the greater villain, Darth Vader or Grand Moff Tarkin?
I would probably be Moff Tarkin.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We agree on that.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, Tarkin is the one that gave the order to destroy Alderaan.
Yeah.
And to destroy Jeddah City.
But it was incredibly effective, though, wasn't it?
He was. And there's a novel about Tarkin. And it's one of those things where he ended up with the Empire. Mm-hmm. Potentially didn't have to. I think the same thing about Thrawn.
Sure.
Obviously a villain. And yet, didn't have to, could have been on the other side. And so that's kind of an interesting thing because you bring up effectiveness.
He is... Grand Moff Tarkin is... We're gonna step on some real sacred ground here and get some people rankled here.
Like me? Or
Adolf Hitler. Let's just go straight for the throat. Adolf Hitler.
Okay, all right.
Thought he was a hero and his people, a lot of them thought he was a hero and they thought he was going the right direction. Was he? I don't know. In his mind, he thought he was a hero. It's the same with, I think, a Grand Moff Tarkin. Did he really just say, I just feel like being a really shitty person and doing really bad things, so I'm going to go this direction and be hated by everybody?
No,
he thought he was a hero. He thought he was doing the right thing for the right reasons.
It was very much a lot of the same things that a lot of villains have from reality with Hitler, fiction with Tarkin, upbringing, the way you're taught, the culture that you live in, kind of creates this situation.
Yeah.
And you think what you're doing is right. You think that you are moving society forward. You think you are doing this for the right reasons.
And you would have if you won. Because the history books would have written it as you overcame the great evil.
Yeah.
So it's weird, isn't it?
Looking back, though, I think we can see from a moral aspect and ethical aspect, two different things, that it wasn't.
Sure.
Had they won, would the history have written it a different way? Yes.
Yeah.
Thrawn could have ended up in a different spot. Could have ended up potentially fighting for the rebellion.
Yeah.
Probably not, but could have. Those kind of things. And that's the thing. If you're the rebellion and you've got Thrawn, who will use the same tactics, the same strategies. Mm-hmm. Does that make it right? Same thing for Tarkin. Picture Tarkin on the other side. Mm-hmm. Instead of Mon Mothma, you've got Tarkin.
Well, he was on the other side when it was the Old Republic.
When it was the Old Republic, yeah. Does that make...
I mean...
He's still as effective, same strategies, same goals.
It's okay because he's blowing up droids instead of people in that one.
And that's the thing I think you have to look at. And it comes back to every hero is a villain in somebody else's story and vice versa. And so you have to be careful of that perspective that you look at. So 3 childhood heroes.
3 childhood heroes, wow. That's kind of hard to say because I was never a big hero fan.
Well, and it's fine. I'm saying heroes if your heroes were Vader and Punisher.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to make a distinction. Who were the 3, instead of heroes, the 3 icons, the 3 pillars that you would throw out there?
It would be Darth Vader.
Okay.
Conan the Barbarian.
Interesting. Okay.
And probably Flash Gordon.
Both of those are very
Gordon.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so why Flash
That's your
Gordon?
spectrum. You're going down. You're going villain, anti-hero, hero.
Yeah.
So why Flash Gordon?
Yeah.
Because he was a stranger in a strange land story. And I always appreciate those kind of heroes better than just the, here I am, I've got superpowers, I can't be destroyed or whatever. He was just a normal dude.
Yeah.
Thrown into a really screwy situation where he ended up on the planet Mongo, doing his thing. And he became, I don't want to say, he wasn't a freedom fighter. They moved him like that because he won the trust of the forest people, and he won the trust of the animal people or whatever, and then the Vulcans or whatever, the flying people. And they all sort of rose up and took their empire back from Ming.
Yeah.
That was the whole thing. So he ended up becoming a freedom fighter, but at the first time he was there just to save the Earth.
Right.
So he was a stranger in a strange land, which I appreciated.
Yeah.
I appreciated seeing him work with other races and other people and things that were completely strange and alien and still make them work. But he was innately human. And I appreciated that about him because he was an aspect of humanity that I thought was something to look up to.
Yeah.
The way he dealt with things.
Yeah.
Now, Conan, why I love Conan is the fact that he's also a stranger in a strange land, essentially. Mm-hmm. He had your typical edgelord, bad childhood, where mom and dad were killed and, then I was a slave. It's like every D&D game.
Yeah.
But I loved his uncompromising attitude toward evil, or what he thought was evil, which wasn't always evil. But when he had a job to do, because he was a thief,
right?
He was a freedom fighter. He was a barbarian. He was all sorts of things. But he just took care of business, and he didn't let anything get in his way.
Yeah.
Vader, I understand Vader. I think Vader was right in a lot of reasons. I think that, I do. I mean, I've always admired Vader, not as much as I admired Palpatine, which is a terrible thing. Yeah, I mean, it's true. Palpatine the thing was, I never grew up with Palpatine as being an admirable villain until the prequels came out.
Sure, yeah.
Because then you got to see him as just dude, And I was like, all right, this makes total sense.
Yeah.
He's a complete mastermind. He's thinking 40 steps ahead, and I admire that in a villain. Yeah. I think a villain should have a very good philosophy, and I think he should be very ruthless and just do his thing and get the job done. Vader, I understood him because he had emotion. He was a tragic villain in a lot of ways, and that's what I admired about him. Was that, and then when the prequels came out, I understood him even more.
Sure.
Because I was like, wow, okay, so he, of course, had your sad upbringing as well, but like his mother was killed by the Sand People, so he killed all the Sand People, and I'm like, good for you. And everybody's like, no, that's wrong. And I was like, whatever. I mean, He's the perfect
for anybody. You couldn't see it, but the way Bunny just shrugged his shoulders and threw his hands out like, so what? They're just Tuscans, for God's sake.
Exactly, savages. No, it's that whole, he has the emotion behind him to lead him on that dark path, and he was very effective at his job.
Yeah, that I can't argue that.
I appreciate. I didn't like the whole sad cripple angle that they went with in the prequels, where you saw him with like no arms and legs and all that, because when I was a kid I just imagined him as a dude in a suit, like a suit of armor, when you were a kid.
Even after he got his helmet taken off.
Sure, he had a goofy looking head, but I mean,
obviously damaged.
I didn't realize he didn't have like arms and legs and stuff. When I was a kid, I thought he was just a dude in a suit of armor, like an impossibly tall, imposing figure.
Really?
I'll tell you a villain. Here's something that's really bugs me. I reread Knights of the Round Table recently. Okay. Just kind of getting back to some of my my old fantasy that I kind of grew up with and all that. Mm-hmm. And everybody goes on and on about how Lancelot is a big hero. No. Lancelot is a dirtbag.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolute dirtbag. Yeah. So I just wanted to get that out there. Yeah. For anyone that hasn't read Knights of the Round Table yet, sorry, spoiler alert, he's a dirtbag.
Yeah.
So, but they play him up. I mean, they even had a television series that was big, The Adventures of Lancelot. Mm. This was back in the 50s. And it's just like, oh, he's great. He's so valorous. He's a dirtbag.
No, yeah.
Sorry. So, I don't even call him an anti-hero. He was just a dirtbag.
Yeah.
I mean,
they would have been better off without him.
Exactly. So, please, your three pillars.
First one, Indiana Jones.
Okay.
Very realistic. He's very human, much like your take with Flash Gordon. He's very human, very fallible, has faults, but in all of the films, it's intelligence that wins the day.
Okay.
Sure, yeah, sometimes a pistol, sometimes a whip, sometimes a fist. You've got to shake it up when you need to. But at the end of the day, thinking, knowledge is the key. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a huge thing, and it had a big influence on me. The fact that knowing your history and reading could actually give you the tools you need to not necessarily make that heroic decision, but to be in the best possible position to make the best decision that you can. Daredevil. For a lot of reasons, but I think because he was always conflicted between religion, what he's doing, being an attorney, just there are a lot of things pulling at him.
He was a good Catholic boy, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Right. That's what I thought. Okay.
And always trying to do the right thing, regardless of how it comes back to affect him. And then, of course, I'm going to hedge on this. As a child, Luke Skywalker.
Okay.
For obvious reasons. Mm-hmm. As I got older and you pulled in the prequels, for me, the prequels and the Clone Wars, it became Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Sure.
And ironically enough, that's the tattoo that I got yesterday is of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Because I don't think any character faced as much tragic loss as he did. Mm-hmm. But it didn't affect his viewpoint.
Yeah.
It didn't affect how he saw the world.
He was a loyalist, that's for sure.
See, I feel like that's derogatory.
No, it's not. I mean, he never turned away from his ideals. So,
his faith never wavered.
Yeah.
He stood strong. And I just find him such a compelling character and a hero because... Did he make mistakes?
Sure.
Yeah. Was he betrayed by his apprentice turned best friend? Yeah. But it didn't send him down a dark path. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing for like Luke, is he was his father's son. Same anger, same frustration. You can see it when he takes up his lightsaber in the battle in the throne room in Return of the Jedi. Yeah, he wants to strike the Emperor down with all his hate. But at the end of the day, he didn't make that turn.
Yeah.
And so I find that very inspiring.
Don't worry, the Emperor will survive being thrown into a furnace.
Well, hey, if I have to give the Empire and the Emperor one thing, and this goes back to other people like Tarkin, like Thrawn, contingencies.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we already knew about clones. And
he is the absolute Capricorn, which is why I always appreciated Palpatine. I mean, he had plans on plans on plans on plans.
Yeah. So, so say what you want about The Rise of Skywalker. I thought it was a really good movie, and I thought Palpatine coming back made perfect sense.
That's a discussion for another day.
Yeah, it is. But, from a hero's perspective, I think it's interesting, like the ones that we chose there. And I think both of us too. If I asked you for a list of 10, we could easily fill it out.
Easily. Yeah.
So let's kind of twist a little bit. Are heroes and villains tied to good and evil?
Well, yeah, they're written that way.
Well, but
I mean, that's
you know what I'm getting at, though, because a lot of what we've been talking about, though, is the ambiguity. And I guess the question would be then: is there ambiguity in good and evil, or are they objective?
There never used to be. That's what I think is weird, is that we've made that shift in the last, like from the 90s on. Yeah, we've kind of made this shift into, well, anti-heroes are the cool ones.
Sure.
Everybody loves Spawn. Remember Spawn? It's like...
I don't, actually.
It's the whole, here's a terrible person who died and then came back and is a terrible villain, like hero that might as well be a villain. Yeah, it's that... I don't know where that came from. I mean, is that the... A few episodes ago, we were talking about kind of the loss of hope as the decades have moved on, especially for younger generations. Is that just a symptom of the losing of hope, where you start to take villains and make them heroes and vice versa? Like, so many people out there now are obsessed with Harley Quinn and Joker. It's like, oh, it's the most beautiful romance. I mean, if you want to get, spousal abuse on a regular basis and random murder thrown in, sure. But it seems kind of real edgy and stupid to me in a lot of ways.
Let me throw this out. Like, I think a lot of that is just real world disillusionment. In that, look at the stuff we get fed every day. Politics, celebrity, religious scandals. I think they have eroded the idea of the good guy. Police, government, ICE agents, all that have eroded the idea of the upstanding, upright person. And so everything's gotten mixed. Everything's gray area.
Well, everything's gotten very selfish. And that's what's...
You think so?
I think so, yeah. I mean, it's all about me and what I want. And if it's good for other people, that's great too. But, as long as I get what I want, is what I see with a lot of that, where it's like, oh, well, the police are the bad guys, and the Antifa's the bad guys, and ICE is the bad guys, and Trump's the villain, and Biden's an incompetent moron, and blah, 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 blah. And the Pope's just a figurehead, and all this stuff. It's weird.
See, I'm not making a hasty generalization of it. I'm looking at, like, specific stories where you see that a team of police officers with a no-knock warrant just bust into an apartment and start shooting.
That's pattern recognition.
What?
That's pattern recognition. That's what you're seeing, I'm saying, is you're recognizing patterns.
No, I'm saying that in a particular story like that, where you've got empirical data and body cam footage that shows that they didn't do things the right way, that they were the villains of that story. And they should never be.
Yeah, that group is a villain, but not all. It's like you said, no hasty generalization.
Yeah, exactly. Not all. I mean, that's the trouble, is when you start generalizing based on the badge that somebody's wearing.
But everybody does it. That's the coin of the realm.
I don't.
Well, maybe you don't. Look at the general public out there. That's the coin of the realm, that one side's bad and the other side's
good. Because it makes
good.
it easy.
Sure, it's always been that way.
Whose jersey do you have on? You suck.
We're going back to the Lone Ranger or the Zorro again, where it's it's easy to tell who the good guys and bad guys are depending on your perspective.
Because they've got the white hat.
Yeah.
What about personal villains? Like when we write our own stories, when we narrate our own tales in our head, is it fair that we cast some people as villains in our tales?
I mean, I'm sure it is. I mean, I cast myself as a villain sometimes in my own story.
Why?
Well, my villain is when I'm selfish. And when I do something that I realize is more convenient for me than it is for other people, and it might hurt other people. That's me being the villain in my own story. And it's happened in the past. I'm sure you've been a villain in your own story.
Never.
And everyone out there.
Never.
Yeah. I mean, you've done stuff that you've felt a little unsavory about.
You're the one that always casts me as a paladin.
Yeah. Well,
so I'm perfectly willing to play that role in this discussion.
That's fine. I'm saying, everyone has the potential to be a villain.
Oh, and everybody's got the potential.
And we don't mean genocidal maniacs or anything.
We are all one bad decision away from being the villain.
Sure.
One bad decision while we're driving. One bad decision at work. Everything in life is a choice.
Yeah.
And that's where you have to be really careful, because I think in reality, as opposed to comic books, movies, stories, in real life, the slip from hero to villain can happen in an instant.
Sure.
And can be completely unintentional. It's not like you're necessarily going to have a big origin story like Joker or Darth Vader.
No.
Just it can be one bad day where you let your emotions control you.
Well, I'd venture to say that a great majority of our listeners out there, and I'll throw myself in this one, you're the villain in someone's story.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Either an ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend, old boss, coworker, a rival teammate, I don't know. I mean, you're a villain in someone's story.
Yeah.
So does that make you a bad person? I mean, are you a bad person because you upset somebody that you don't think about anymore or whatever? Then maybe you are, maybe you aren't. That's something you have to make peace with on your own. There.
Yeah. And you can't control that, how other people cast you.
It's true.
You can just be the best person that you can be.
Sure.
I know I'm a villain in a lot of stories just because I work for OSHA.
Yeah.
That I was the bad guy, and I was fine with that. I was fine wearing that black hat. But
you're a paladin.
Well, because in my version of that story,
you're the good guy.
Exactly. In my version of that story, my hat was gleaming white.
See, you were Moff Tarkin showing up to everybody's little rebellion party. All these illegal aliens working on the roofs and stuff, just trying to make their money, make their bread to send back to their crappy little whatever.
If only I'd had a Death Star.
Got to send it back to Tatooine to help Mom and Shmi and all those people. But nope, here he came.
Yep.
Breaking up the party and telling everybody there, you're under arrest.
Tie off, damn it.
Exactly. And now here's your fine. No, now I'm out of business. Now my wife left me. Now I blew my brains out. That's what happened.
Hey, it was their choice. All they had to do was tie off. Come on. Safety is a choice, just like everything in life is a choice. And on that note, tell us in the comments, wherever you're listening to this, heroes, villains, what are your thoughts? Who are your favorite heroes and favorite villains? We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, this has been the Gen Existentialist. My name's Scott.
And I'm Bunny.
Have a good one.